Even though he has never competed professionally, Laird Hamilton is considered one of the greatest surfers that ever lived. But he prefers to call himself a waterman. That's a title that describes a person with a deep spiritual connection with the ocean. Specifically, Laird has a passion for riding waves, giant waves, the dinosaurs, as he calls them. He admits that he is a risk taker and what he does is dangerous, but he would say not doing what you're born to do can be equally risky. As a young blonde-haired boy growing up in Hawaii, Laird was an outcast. In school, he had to defend himself, and the best way to do that was simply to be stronger, faster, more daring than the next kid. Those survival skills are what keep him going today. His fitness and workouts are legendary. And yet, as strong as he makes his body, he knows that to be on that wave requires him to surrender and let the day dictate. It's the exact same approach Laird takes to his life. Everybody has a story, and there's something to be learned from every experience. Use your life as a class. This is Masterclass with Laird Hamilton.
Surfing is a relationship with the ocean. The act of riding a wave is something pretty primal, and the fact that you're able to ride the energy of a storm, there's something maybe hard to understand about that, but that brings you a sensation. I mean, you're out there by yourself, ultimately, and that the intimacy of that you're out there in creation, you're in the ocean where life really on the earth would not exist without, and somehow you're in this soup, this thing that we're made of. I mean, we're made of salt water. I think I love the act of riding a giant wave because it kind of bridges the gaps of understanding. I can take a woman in the middle of the country that's never seen a wave, but somehow she sees a little human on this giant wave, and maybe she has a river by her house, and so she can appreciate what water is and how powerful it is, and it evokes an emotion and a reaction without any knowledge of what a wave is, and maybe never saw the ocean. You know, I could go to the middle of Afghanistan and show a guy a picture of a giant wave, and it would evoke an emotion out of him that would almost be a primal instinct emotion. It would be something inside of you that you don't know why, and something special about it that way. That's the spiritual aspect of it, that maybe we're all connected to it in a way that we don't truly grasp. I grew up on the sand, and I've been drawn to the ocean since before I could walk. My mom brought me to Hawaii when I was 3 months old. You know, I think it was the 60s, and my mom, you know, kind of maybe thought that was the end of the world. She didn't know what, you know, there was Vietnam, and there was just all this stuff going on, and I think she really wanted me to have a different life. I think she wanted to escape California, and part of that had to do with my father wasn't with her, and so she was alone, and I think she really desired a different opportunity for me, and she felt like it was out there, like, go west, my child. And so that was, you know, the birth of it. I think that when I was young at the beach, I think I was a menace. You know, I think at a certain point, okay, here's Laird again, we better keep an eye on him so he doesn't drown. So I was a little bit of a liability, I would say. There's stories of lifeguards coming to my mom's house and saying, well, Laird's, you know, out in the rip current again. And my mom would be like, no, he's in his room napping. And they're like, no, he's out in the rip current again. And I'd get rescued probably, you know, every other day for years. When I met Bill Hamilton, who later became my father, the foundation of our relationship was body surfing, because that's the most, I would say, the most primal aspect of surfing. It's the purest form. It's no fins, no board, no, just your body and the energy of a wave. And so I was, you know, at 3, not a great swimmer, and so I would ride his back and use him like my own human dolphin, which my daughters do today. And so our relationship really was founded in the ocean, on waves, riding waves. And my first sensation of going inside of a wave and being in what we call a tube was on his back. I rode him into a wave and would beg him to take me out and to do that. I think that was the foundation of our whole friendship and, you know, and our relationship. And I've been needing a dad, so I've been kind of looking for one. At least I thought I did, because I was 3 and I didn't have one. So I thought he would be the perfect guy. He looked like the guy I wanted to be my dad, and he was a great surfer. And so I had a plan to introduce him to my mother. And so I brought him home. I don't know how it was, but I got him back to the house and introduced them. And they had had mutual friends. And maybe I just thought I was being Cupid, but at the end, they fell in love and got married, and he became my father. And then I was surrounded by all these men that were great surfers and great divers and great fishermen. And you look back at some of the Hawaiian culture, and it was like the guy that was the great surfer was second only to the king, because that skill and that knowledge was respected and admired by all. So at the end of the day, I did feel loved and protected. And I think that was probably the most important part that all these surfers had on me, was I had a family, and not having had really any family, because my mom left